And the oilam here, the siyata d'shmaya. Okay, Bezrat Hashem. So here we said that compassion is a hargashat golmit. Compassion is just a feeling. And that feeling has to go somewhere. It's not enough just to have the feeling, you need to use das. I need to have intelligence to know where to move that feeling. If you don't know how to act with compassion, meaning you take this hargashat golmit and you're not using it in a good way, so he gives now that famous analogy as a yuchal l'rachem al tinag shel arba yomim. A person could have compassion, God forbid. It's interesting, he's calling it compassion because it's a hargashat golmit. For a baby, why 4 days? We'll have to get to that probably later in the Torah. Litein loy meichel et tzarech legodol, to give him food that really belongs to a big person. So, is the person wrong for wanting to help the child? Of course not. That's good. He's feeling compassion. It's a hargashat golmit though. It's just a feeling. So at least you have to learn how to feel. But the feeling has to be linked to intelligence. What is the intelligent way that I could help feed this child? Let's say a person has a good feeling. He wants to help his wife. He wants to help his community. He has to know what is the best way to do that. Remember, Reb Nachman is giving us medicine. This is not medical advice. This is Torah advice. But Reb Nachman is here to try to help us heal our soul and help us heal the whole world. So let's try to really meditate into these Torahs. Ki koden kazeh, tzrichen lazunu rak al de cholav davka. And Reb Nachman makes sure that you know that a baby of this age specifically needs mother's milk, which is interesting. I could have the feeling of that hargashat golmit, of compassion. Not only do I have to know through intellect what not to give, how not to express this feeling, I need to know also how yes to express this feeling. It's going to be two parts. I need to know what yes to do, which means knowing I have a feeling of helping the baby that's crying. So the feeling has to be first directed what not to give. Make sure you don't give steak, that's dangerous. And make sure you yes give mother's milk.
Also it can go the other way around, like you know what's good for the baby and don't feel it.
I know, say again, I know it's good for the baby, and then I feel it.
No, but other way around, like I know milk's good for the baby, but I'm not gonna help.
So exactly, that would be cruel also. Maybe that's even more cruel. I know what they need, but I'm not giving. So it says if you want to be a leader, you need to be compassionate. There needs to be some compassion. Compassion is the making of any leader. But a leader that has compassion, but misplaced compassion, is not a leader. It starts with compassion, with a hargasha golmit, but then it goes to das, which is interesting. It's really going this direction. It's going from feeling to intellect. Usually we say that you go from intellect to feeling. Here the Torah is going from feeling to intellect. It starts with you need to have compassion, and it says tzarech leida, then you need to know. Usually we say v'yadata hayom v'ashavoisa el avecha. First you go with intellect and then into emotions. Here the whole Torah is really beginning with emotion, to be emotional, and then to be an intellectual. How can I direct these emotions in healthy ways? Al-Kain, Sarach again, Leida. I need to know, I need to have das. Echlis nagam arachmanus. I need to know, to have das, how to move my compassion. Shalakotin kazet, tzrichen l'rachem, litein cholav daike. Of course, it just needs mother's milk. V'lagodol meichel et tzarech loy, and somebody old, the food that's appropriate for them. V'chein al kol echad ve'echad, tzrichen l'rachem b'meh shetzarech lo. You need to have compassion, not on my terms, but on the terms of the person that I'm trying to feed. So what do we see with compassion? Compassion means I know what they need and not what I think I would need. So far, so good. And then the Rebbe says something very strong. V'rachamon kazeh, and somebody who's a rachamon. I want to suggest that rachamon means compassion with das, because we saw in the beginning. Hainu mishu rachamon, he could be a man. That's in the first line. Someone's a rachamon. I want to say the rachamon is different than rachamim. The rachamon means das with compassion. Rachamim is just the feeling of compassion. So who is this rachamon? Which means he had feelings with intellect. Who rak Moshe Rabbeinu. This was only Moshe Rabbeinu. Ki hu hayamanig Yisrael, that he was the true leader of the Jewish nation. V'hu yiyah manig la'asid, and he will be the leader once again. What's the proof of that? A pasuk from King Solomon. Ki masha haya hu shiyeh. What was will be. Masha haya hu shiyeh. Koheles Rosh Tevis Moshe. What was will be once again. What was will be once again. Why is this pasuk the pasuk? Why is this verse the verse?
Well, Moshe was going back to the burning bush, no? Isn't that the name? Ekye? The name was basically I am who I will be. Isn't that basically the same concept?
Also, you see that in Sefer Tevis. I heard from Rabbi Aaron Avital that Ekye, I will be that which I will be. Mash with the Aleph. Masha haya hu shiyeh. What was will be.
I don't remember doing that.
So
It's there.
So why is this the proof?
It's also, it says that in every generation there's like a reincarnation of Moshe.
Yes.
Stop to look at Moshe, pull door to door.
He has the same
Chaim.
force.
So yes, the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu comes out in the world in every generation, in the Torah scholars. But why is this the proof that Moshe Rabbeinu is the compassionate one?
Because he still cares about us.
He still cares about
He
us.
cared and he still cares. He's a true leader, he cares about us.
It means if you cared, perforce you have to care, because Masha Haya Hushiyeh, what was will be once again. And if he was the one that cared, then you'll see him still caring. And anything that you'll see in the future, it must have been that it was like that. So what happened to tshuva? That's it? If you did something in the past, that's what it's going to be forever? What about tshuva? What about a person changing their life?
It's a new life, that's what it's like.
You said
Masha Haya Hushiyeh. Tshuva is Lamal Min Hashem.
Tshuva is before the world was created, so it is a Mashaya.
Oh, very good. Masha Haya.
He said that it's before the world was created.
That's the mamish, biggest
the
Masha Haya.
original. It's the original tshuva. And even more so, tshuva's even greater than a person who, they say about tshuva is even greater than a person who didn't do anything his entire life, because the person who did tshuva tasted the ra kind of and went back. So it's even greater than anything else. So the fact that we're going back to tshuva, there's nothing like, it's not like, oh, before tshuva it was just perfect. No, it's tshuva. It's dafka, like there was that and then it was like overcome. It's even greater than
But the
just
following phrase where the tzaddik stands, the Baal Tshuva doesn't stand. So
Rabal Tshuva is that nothing as high as a Baal Tshuva.
So,
opposite. Baal Tshuva is
no, but there's the following line says, whenever the tzaddik stands, the Baal Tshuva doesn't.
And we see that also.
But people
that's-
tend to forget the second part.
That's right.
Where do we say that?
Especially when they're teaching in Yeshiva Teres. They want to tell them. They want to pump up the Bali Tshuva. Ki Moshe Rabbeinu hayolei rachmanus be'emes. Now we see the first introduction of emes, that he had the true compassion. So it looks like emes must be das. Emes has to be das. Has to be
To know what's in it.
to know. He had true compassion. It looks like there's compassion and then true compassion. There's compassion and true compassion. Umasar nafshay b'sfil Yisrael, and he gave his life for Klal Yisrael. V'hishlach nafshay mineged. His own life he cast aside. V'loy hayachoshesh al atzmei klal. he didn't pay attention for himself. It wasn't about Moshe Rabbeinu. It was about Klal Yisrael. Ki Hashem yisbo amar loi, because Hashem said to him, Escha lagoy gadol, I will make you into a great nation. I will make you into a great nation. Moshe, why don't we just start with you? The Jews sinned. Let's start new with you. V'hu loi hishgiach al ze klal. He paid no attention to this. Rak Omar, what did he say? Im tisach hatosam. He's davening, God forgive the Jews. And if you don't, Mecheni na misifrecha. Moshe Rabbeinu says, erase me from your book.
Is that like what the level that a leader has to be willing to go to for his people?
Especially that we said that only if you want to be a Rachaman, you want to be a leader, you need compassion. And then we say the only person that was really compassionate at this level, that's called a leader, is Moshe Rabbeinu. And he was a leader then, and he'll be a leader in the future. He'll be Mashiach. Mashahaya Hushiyeh. He was the redeemer of the Jews in the past, he'll be the redeemer of the Jews again in the future. And then, what is the job qualification of Moshe Rabbeinu, of who is such a leader? Somebody who is all about the klal. He's all about the people.
Like to the point where his sister, like Miriam says, your wife, your family, he's just like, I'm all about the klal.
Which is hard because
Was he
aren't they
right in
part of
that
the klal?
Is he right in that
And
case?
isn't Moshe part of the klal?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Was
So
he
how
right
could
in that
he
case?
erase himself?
It's like there's no king without a people. It's a similar thing to a leader. Like, what's a leader without people to lead? I mean, Moshe's whole job is to be the leader. Without the people, he's not the leader. He's not
Erase
really.
me from your book, but then you're supposed to be the leader. Then you're not going to be a leader?
Yeah, because
And if you're going to be a leader, then why don't you just say, yeah, we'll start again from you, and you have a new people to lead.
Can't give up.
There's a lot in here to unpack.
he cared already about the ones who were alive at that moment.
You cared about the people alive at that moment.
You just can't give up on him.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up on Klal Yisrael. He definitely bought the dip.
Always better. He's profiting now.
Don't give up on Klal Yisrael. And this is really going to lead us into the next section of, while we mentioned Elon Musk, of what Moshe Rabbeinu was really into. What was really his philosophy? What was he really into? What was his whole belief system? Kihu haya Rachaman, and now it adds Manig Amiti. Moshe Rabbeinu, now they're putting it together. He's the Rachaman, the Manhig Amiti. He's the compassionate, true leader. And it looks like there was only one, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. He is the Rachaman Amiti. And now the Rebbe goes into a very big section, and this is really needs to be deeply thought about. V'haya oisek b'yeshuva shel olam. His whole life, osek means he was like lasoik b'divrei Torah. He wasn't just, living, he was occupied, he was oisek. What's a business called? An asik. Are people busy with their businesses? 24/6, they're involved, thinking for trial, business, they're asuk in this asik. They're totally involved in it. What was he totally involved in? Settling the world. Yeshuvah shel olam. What do those words mean? Settling the world, populating the world. So that was our question. Is he just about population growth? Just more babies? So what is it? What's Moshe Rabbeinu's thing?
Maybe do more Moshes so they can.
Moshe's. Name everybody Moshe.
Shia olam miyushav mibnei adam. Sounds like it. The whole world should be filled with human beings. Moshe Rabbeinu wants human beings alive. Pro-life. More babies, more humans. That the world should be inhabited by human beings. Now, this next section has to be really understood properly. Ki ikara adam hu adas. What is a human being?
Yes, that.
animal does.
Homo sapien is human being?
No. Neshama is a human being.
Homo
Neshama
sapien?
In a human, in a Homo sapien.
Moshe Rabbeinu is just about more bodies in the world. So I think like Eli's saying, what makes a human a human? That's really what we're getting to. What makes a human a human?
The soul, alright, what he said, like the soul.
Oh,
Not a caveman, like the golem, like what do you say? Golem? What would be golem?
the golem.
Golem, yeah. Of the Frankenstein.
Yeah, why did I think it
walks
was like a
on that.
monster? Or am I?
That's the way that the movies
Or am I-
play it out to be.
One of the
Oh,
commenters,
okay.
one of the commenters said, a human is a mix between earth and divine.
So, but the truth is, the human really is the divine part. It's just, will you choose that divine part? You are the divine part. It's just you're clothed in a bag of fleshix. Will you choose to be the divine part? That's what makes the human unique, is that we have the soul that we have is greater than the angels, but at the same time, we're inside this bodysuit.
And it like
Flanking.
It like blocks the reception. Like
Yes.
like
That's right, and therefore you have to make a decision, you have to choose, you have to identify. And that's the great free will that does not exist by any other creature. The free will of, will I identify as an animal with my instincts and my taivas, my kinetaiva cover? Will I identify as that? Or will I identify as a soul, as a neshama?
It can be both. I think that also says that they're sure you gotta also take your animal apart and put it there.
So that I know that that's not me, is that
But it's
I'm
also
using the vessel that you gave me to serve you, Hashem.
But I think it's also embracing the material part, like not putting it to the side. That's
Ideally,
that, knowing when yes and when no.
That's right. But it's about incorporating the animal part of me for you, Hashem. It's like a rider on a horse. So if the horse is my body, and the horse is an untamed stallion, an untamed stallion is running to a casino, so that's not a good place for a jockey to be hanging out. He said, what am I going to do? He took me to the casino. So ideally the jockey,
horses shouldn't be considered either.
that's correct. Even though they might, well, I don't know, a horse casino, whatever. Figure that one out.
Like a balagan, like a run over the table.
It's true. It happens to be that our horse is more sophisticated than a regular horse. Our horse has intellectual taivas and has instinctual brain things that make a person seek honor, but it's really coming from just an animal desire. Really, it's about tapping into the soul inside of me. And then imagine harnessing the stallion. If you can harness the stallion,
Then you're a thoroughbred.
that's right. And then the stallion could help you get to where you need to go in this world. So the body is no longer a steerer. The body is not pulling you down. The body can be used in the service of Hashem. But that's das. Is that das means that I can identify who I am. We're going to get a very important definition of das in a moment. Is that das is knowing that God runs the world. That's how he ends this shtickle over here. Das means, look at the last line here. Ki Moshe posach es hadas. Moshe Rabbeinu opens up das. Moshe Rabbeinu is opening up das. And he's revealing to us ki yesh Elokim shalit ba'aretz, that God runs the world. So what does the animal part of me convince me? I run the world. What does my soul know? God runs the world. And if I can teach my animal side that really, if you can be aware that God runs the world, so then you could come into this service. We could do this together. We could serve Hashem together. Then you'll elevate even the animal part of you. But if a person never has that das, and he walks around basically just following his animal desires, and Rav Nachman says that that's not really acting human. person might look human, and he is obviously human, but he's not acting like a human being.
The way I like to think about it is that you have in other Torahs, I think he talks about it. I've read it in other books. I've quoted. There's Elokim and there's Yud Kei Vav Kei. Elokim is Hateva. It's this world. It's like to see that everything is just natural. There's nothing above it. It's all just like Din. It's just how it is. And then there's Yud Kei Vav Kei, and the whole that's like above Chesed and Hashem, like runs the world, and it's not just natural occurrences. And the whole point of a human, the only thing that a human can do one of the main things that a human can do that an animal can't do is the yichud between them. Is to say that Elokim and Yud Kei Vav Kei together makes the whole
Hashem Elokim.
Yeah.
Hashem Elokim, the same God that is beyond all the worlds, is also within Teva, is also running this world. The same God that's making my soul is also making my body. And I have to infuse the animal consciousness of me and elevate it. One of the things that the Baal HaTanya speaks about is that the main desire of the animal soul is for pleasure. But what it goes after is just low animal pleasures. Kinetava covered. So it goes after pleasures. Where's the latest, new steak restaurant in town? Where is this happening? What's the newest movie coming out? It's just looking after these pleasures wherever it can get, just like an animal. It's looking after a pleasure. And the godly soul is also looking after pleasure, but it's looking after elevated pleasures, about connecting to Hashem when I eat, connecting to meaning, making a difference in the world, the 5 levels of pleasure. So really, if you could tell the animal soul, you'll get more pleasure if you join the team called God. Your body will even feel better. I can give you more elevated pleasures. So then you could even makarev your body into the service of Hashem. One of the reasons why, Rav Kellerman said this to us, I remember a number of years ago we made a siyum. Now what's one of the reasons why when you make a siyum, you finish a significant amount of Torah, so you eat fancy food?
Motivation to do it again.
Is that you're telling your body, saying, if you learn all this Torah,
Reward.
look what you're going to get. So the body's like, okay, I just invested 6 months in finishing a Masechta. I put in 1,000 hours into Bava Metzia, and I'm going to have this. Okay, I don't mind doing this again. You're training that your body also gets pulled in
Similar in
to
Shabbat.
avodas Hashem.
Similar in Shabbat. We eat extra, we dress nicer, all this stuff. This is called the Kavod Shabbat, but it's also to give the body its kind of enjoyment so that the neshama can roam free and not have
That's
to worry
it.
about
Like the
it.
espresso bar.
That's it. Tomorrow morning, Rabbi says, 6:30 a.m.
Cafe.
Lakute Cafe,
Let's go.
open bar. Nespresso, that is.
Maybe with tequila alcohol.
A little White Russian maybe, maybe like.
Well, not so much into drinking,
Tequila bar.
but a good coffee in the morning is good.
Mexican water.
So the Rebbe here is going to go into a very kind of deep piece. And the first kind of background is understanding that the identity of the human being is really to the degree that he's identifying with his soul. And because we have a soul inside of an animal, if a person is just living their life with their instincts, so then they're really just identifying with the animal part of them. They're not acting like humans. And when we want to see a world filled with B'nai Adam, what we mean is that we want to see a world where human beings are identifying with their soul. So our question, if Elon is right, so if he wants a world populated because he wants people identifying with their souls, then yes. If it means just more Tesla customers, then no. It's not about just more people going with their animalistic instincts. When we say that Moshe Rabbeinu was osek b'yeshuva shel olam, that the world should be filled with B'nai Adam, it means that Moshe Rabbeinu desires a world that's connected to their soul. a world that's connected to their soul. And therefore he's praying for Klal Yisrael, who had made a departure from connecting with their soul. And he's saying that tshuva is real, and we could bring human beings back to a connection with their soul. Because the ikar of the person is the das. That is who we are. That's what makes us human, is our das, is being connected. Umi she'ein loy das. But what if a person is not connecting to consciousness? He's not connecting to his das, his inner consciousness. He's just connected to just programming. Support the latest thing.
NPC mode.
That's right. NPC. NPC.
Non-player character. You're not even playing the game.
That's right. It's an NPC. The Moshe Rabbeinu just want a bunch of NPCs in the world. Let's make sure we have NPCs. Everybody just, program through all the propaganda, support the latest thing. People were asking us this morning about the news and fake news. And they said, where do you get your sources from? I said, just open up the Torah.
Parsha.
Open up the Parsha. Open up the Torah. Who's controlling the media? Well, there are people that have sold out and they have a manipulation tactic with their media. And it's sad. But God is the one that's really in control. So why don't you open up his media company called the Torah and see what he has to say? Go back to the source. Go back to the source. It's all about going back to the source. So Moshe Rabbeinu wants just a bunch of NPCs? The answer is no. Because Misha ain't like das. If someone doesn't have this consciousness, or let's say it differently, he has it, but he's turned off that switch. He's not identifying with it whatsoever. He's just acting in an animalistic way. Eina min yishuv. He's basically not part of what we would call building up humanity. He's not a playable character. He could be. I don't know if the video games like a not NPC could ever turn into a playable character. Is there such a thing? Well, we believe there is.
Yeah, there are some.
That a person could go from an NPC to a FIFA is? All of a sudden, a guy go from an NPC.
You could switch. You could switch players.
Yeah, but you're switching players.
But
Don't make them the main character.
But then they're not. I don't think the players are NPCs. The players aren't NPCs.
They're
Why not?
computer
Of course
programs.
They're computer programs. They just do what you want
Other
until you
players
jump on them.
Until you switch and take
Until
control.
you switch.
Okay, so we believe that you could take
Not like
over
both.
and you could help a person. Meaning you could take. You thought you were an NPC. That's a very deep thought. You thought you're just an NPC here, and you're going around the world totally programmed from society with just all the cognitive programming. And all of a sudden, there is a Moshe Rabbeinu in the world that could flip on a switch, and all of a sudden you look at yourself and you say, I'm not an NPC.
Moshe took them out of Mitzrayim.
That's right. They went from not having das, basically being NPCs, to now having das. So imagine in a person's life, and if somebody around the world is watching this and feels a bit like in their life like an NPC. So I just go to work, I'm just like a cog in whatever company I'm working. I don't feel like I'm actually making decisions and moves in life. So maybe this is your moment where you're gonna flip and turn from an NPC to a PC. It's called PC, playable character.
It is now.
It is now. To actually become a playable character, somebody who's awakened. Because the NPCs, we believe in human beings, that they have potential. And even if they've been acting completely away from their soul, they're waiting for a Moshe Rabbeinu to come and lead them. Because Moshe Rabbeinu has compassion. Human beings in the world that are just NPCs, and there's all sorts of names that certain people call, like useless eaters. It's a derogatory term. All these NPC people, you know what we'll do? Just give them some, Oculus Prime, put them into the metaverse, let them just, tithers, and totally they'll just, because they're not really productive. And a person actually believes this. You know what? I'm just like an NPC, and like I'll just whatever they tell me to do, I guess I'll just do. Whatever they tell me to buy, I guess I'll just buy. I'm just programmed like that. But the truth is you could break out of that. You literally break out of that with das. So Moshe Rabbeinu was interested. You know what Moshe Rabbeinu was? He turned NPCs into human beings again. He was taking people that had been completely relegated to just instinctual NPC behavior, and he said, enough is enough.
Get in the game.
Get in the game.
Get in the game.
Become human again.
Chizzuk.
Become human again. Become human again.
That's a good slogan. Become human again.
Become human again.
Gotta use that. Wow. Yes.
Because you are on the inside. But the world told you
Forgot
from the
yourself.
earliest years that you're just an NPC, you know, just go through the motions, you know, just fall in line, soldier, just go to college, obviously, get a degree, work for the man, just be a cog in this machine. And comes Moshe Rabbeinu and says, here is a connection to your soul again. Wake up.
Should be like on the side of the building, like ish, like become human, like instead of just do it, it should say like
Yeah, just do it. Become human again. Wake up.
It's like in the Matrix when they
Wake
say to
up.
Neo, wake up, wake up, wake up.
That's it. Is that it's in us. It's in us, but we haven't been identifying with the human part of us, the choosing part of us. We've just been going through the motions. So that's the animal part of us that we've been identifying for so long. So we want to wake that up. So I have a few minutes here. We're happy if there's some questions from our chevra, and we'd be happy to answer some questions. I see Charleston Whitey is mentioning something about creating the drip irrigation. It's true, that was a creation. It's actually a very intelligent creation, because if you have very little water, in order to be able to grow things in an arid climate, very important to have a way to use the just right amount of water and not waste your water resources. So thank you for that comment. The question, this is Zionist question mark. So the idea of Tzion is something that we've spoken about in the past. Tzion means the vision of a world that is good, that is perfected, which is something that's only connected to Torah ideology, and it's a longer discussion that we're happy to speak about. Thank you so much for the thought. The living lions. Solomon was the son of David HaMelech. That is correct. King Solomon, Shlomo HaMelech is the son of David HaMelech, and the Davidic line goes through him, and that they will be the kings, and we will see that Mashiach will come from that lineage. Thank you very much, the living lions.
Someone said, will there still be free will in the era of Mashiach?
Wonderful question. So we are told that free will be taken away. The verse says, Yomim she'ein behem chayfetz, days that no longer a person has desire, which means they no longer have desire to do bad. That will not all happen at once. There'll be a process of how that happens. Is that when Mashiach comes, he will be guiding people. One of the names of Mashiach is called the Peli Yoetz, the wondrous advisor, which means that Mashiach will come and speak to every single person at their level and give them advice. For example, does a person have free will right now to get angry? Yes. Does he have free will not to get angry? Yes. Mashiach will come and explain that you getting angry is literally ruining your life. It's making your blood pressure go through the roof. It's not making you a happier, more productive person. It's destroying relationships. He'll teach you with such clarity that anger is so irrational and insensible that you'll stop becoming angry. Your fear will be taken away because it'll be so obvious that it's so foolish to get angry. So Mashiach will be this amazing teacher that will teach us how to fix ourselves to the point that you won't have choices but to stay close to Hashem. Maybe one more questions from our dear friends.
I got one. Will there be a Kohen Gadol from the lineage of Zadok when the Beit HaMikdash is rebuilt? Basically asking how the Kohen Gadol will be decided.
The Kohen Gadol will likely be a consensus amongst the leaders of the Jewish nation. They say that when the Chaim was alive, Rabbi Kagan, so everybody knew that if Mashiach had come, that the Chaim, we have a Kohen Gadol. Some say Rav Kook be the Kohen Gadol. We have some high level leadership that are definitely in the running of being the Kohen Gadol. And Bezrat Hashem, we hope that it's going to come very, very soon, and we'll see great peace in the world. Bezrat Hashem, my friends. We're going to be doing a section now on Mashiach, starting in about 3 minutes. Looking forward to continue to learn together. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful